Hello! Welcome to Role4It. We're going to be playing some Dungeons & Dragons with my friends here, Geek Girly, Avok, Arumba, and Miss Carsonell.
Hi.
There we go. They're very
Hello.
keen to see you.
Hello.
We're going to be raising money for Charity Water, and yeah, it should be some fun. Hopefully. We've already raised 64% of $700, apparently.
Yay.
That's our goal for tonight.
Okay.
So we actually made our goal for even before streaming. So what happens, if you don't know, is when we reach a certain amount of money raised for each session, a special piece of loot will appear in the next session for the characters. And since we raised so much money before even starting, there will be a bonus piece of loot for them this session.
Hurrah. Thank you very much, everyone. My tiefling is very fond of loot.
Yeah. So should we go through who each person is and explain what you've been up to this week, and then we'll get cracking?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm not Anna or Annalise or Scarlett or...
Thank goodness. Not a third Anna.
Slayer.
Anyone else?
That was it? That's all you're going to say? Who you're not? Aren't you supposed to say who you are?
I'm a tiefling. I'm
Once
tricksy
you've
like
ruled
that.
out the impossible, only the possible's left.
I'm Avak, if you couldn't tell by my voice. Well, actually, that's assuming most of you know who I am already, which is rather arrogant. I'm Avak, and I'm playing the tiefling rogue Melfas.
Okay, Anna, what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to this week? TwitchCon! I just got back from TwitchCon, so if I look tired, that's why. I literally just got back from TwitchCon. Didn't sleep. Haven't slept.
Yeah,
Very, very tired.
I
Sleeping till the
somewhat
week.
bullied you into coming tonight. I feel bad.
I am... Yeah, it's all your fault.
That's pretty much it.
It really is. It's all your fault. I'm not even going to try and make you feel better about it. No, this is your fault.
Yep.
All right.
Entirely. Arumba?
Yeah, I am. Hello and welcome. I'm Arumba. This is actually, you guys actually drew me into this is the second time I've ever used a face cam for anything on Twitch or
yeah.
YouTube. So
Well done.
good job. Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of people in my chat are saying they thought I was black, apparently, by my voice, but they're surprised that I'm not. So I'm going to be playing a night elf druid. Not night elf. Damn it.
Wow.
Now you're getting your character confused.
See, with the word druid, I just naturally associate World of Warcraft. So things like night elf or Tauren, they come to mind. But yeah,
That's
no,
just
half elf, half of an elf druid named Aramil Silverkin, and I want to bring balance to the party. That's my plan.
And Miss Carsonell. Annalise.
Yes, I'm Miss Cashnell, Annalise, Arumba, Annalise.
Hannah.
I'll stab you eventually.
I know, she's got 2 daggers.
Yes,
Pretty
stabby
likely.
stabby. I am playing the Gnome Ranger Scarlet. And I think that's all I have to say.
Very well.
Okay, cool. Did someone want to say something about Charity Water, just briefly, so we can persuade people to donate and it's a good cause?
I think you should.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I thought Annalise was going to say something.
I mean, if anyone else wants to, feel free.
Let her have a little bit more cider. I'll handle this one.
That's very,
So I was-
very
Okay.
magnanimous of you.
We were talking before we decided to do the stream about like what kind of charities we could support, and Enter Elysium and I both agree that there's a lot of charities out there that don't always spend the money the right way, and this one though is different. It's called Charity Water, and Enter Elysium, you might be able to help me explain this part a little bit better. But basically, like the overhead, the administrative costs are like paid for by a company of some sorts.
It's basically lots of like rich like donors, like people who've got millions of pounds, etc., who just be like, okay, we'll support your running costs, and you go get the money for the, actual donations for water pumps and stuff from, of grassroots effects sort of charity stuff. So it's just rich people who come along and go, we'll donate to your charity to keep it running.
Just rich
Yeah,
people
and
come along.
I really like that part because I've always felt like if you're going to give money, you always wonder where it ends up. And it sounds like with this charity, at least pretty much 100% of it goes directly towards digging wells for people who can't get clean drinking water. And hey, let's face it, there's a lot of people on this planet who don't have everything that we have, and they deserve it. So got to help them out.
Well,
So
there
feel free
we
to
go.
donate and give us, extra. What was I going to get? I was going to get extra mistletoe.
Well, we found out you
that's
didn't need
what-
mistletoe in the end because you've got a casting focus.
True, but give me mistletoe anyway, because mistletoe's cool.
Okay. So if we reach our goal for tonight, which I think is $700, we started the night with like 450 anyway. Then they'll have an extra bit of loot drop in the next session. Nothing crazy big. I don't want to unbalance the party, but something small and nice, so that the chat can be like, yeah, we got you that by being nice to charity. We did already get $450. So there will be something, not more coffee. You've already got coffee. Will drop during this session. And it's just a kind of nice way of saying, thank you guys. So, without further ado, I think we're ready to get started, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Let me pull up my... So, you are all currently in Middleshire, in the Halfling Nation, which is in the center of the continent. It's a little bit north, so it's a little bit on the cold side. It's autumn. It's a little bit chilly. Wolfslayer feels perfectly at home here. And it's raining. It's not a particularly strong rain. It's just that annoying sort of pitter-patter of rain, which will eventually get through everything you wear. Nothing you can really get in range of that. No sleeting rain, nothing dramatic, just annoying. And you've been walking for about 4 hours since you last went and helped a farmer out. And you're kind of looking for a bed. It's getting to nightfall, the sun's getting low in the sky, it's starting to get a bit dark, and you come up to the halfling village of Halfwood in front of you.
Okay, well, I just start approaching it. No pause, heading to the most obvious inn-like structure I can see.
Okay. Straight as you get to the front of the village, you can see very obviously, as you get to the crossroads that starts at the beginning and sort of has roads breaching off around that go around the edge of the village to be able to get access to other things. Right at that crossroads, basically on the corner, is an inn. The inn is called the Old Trout, and it's got a picture of a trout on a plate on this swinging board from a sort of an arm coming out over it. And over this little bit of a balcony-type structure on top, you can see that there's a nice brazier, which has sort of got some coals in it, keeping a little bit of a light. And you can hear from the inside some sort of merrymaking very faintly in the background of halflings who, obviously, considering it's a bit, naff outside, have decided to have an early night of it and go and have some down the local pub.
Okay, shall we go inside, guys? I mean,
Sure, I'm up for
I've
it.
been walking for 4 hours. I've had enough of the rain now.
I'm up for it.
Let's go see if we can entertain them. Why not?
Okay, so as you walk in the door, you can hear the sounds of people, eating, drinking, talking. You walk in and you can see there's about 20 hobbits inside, and you probably estimate that to be a good, 50% of the population of the village. It's not a particularly large village. And you walk in, and there are people bustling around, a couple of them nearby, looking up at you, and everyone sort of turns to you, seeing strangers, and quite an odd mix of strangers. I mean, we've got a half-elf who's currently wearing sort of furs and hides. We've got a tiefling, and tieflings are fairly uncommon, especially this far north. And we've got a gnome. Gnomes aren't particularly uncommon, and, a half-elf druid. He doesn't look particularly out of the place. Everyone has a quick pause, and then just gets back to what they're doing.
We
Kind of ignoring you.
we had just helped the innkeeper's like friend or brother or niece or nephew, whatever it was, right?
It was something like
is this the inn?
half cousin, sister once removed, something. Very distant relationship. And yeah, this is the only inn you could really see as you approach the village. It's not a particularly big village. You don't think there'd be another one.
Well, I'll go look for the innkeeper then, just to touch base with him and mention who we are so that they know that, hey, we're the ones that helped out that guy.
Okay.
The random guy.
Well, as you walk in, you can see that there's a sort of a bar at the back with random kegs and stuff, and there's a lady working them, and she looks fairly tough. She looks like she's been around the sort of the place quite a while. She's had to throw out her share of what's the word? Mischievous halflings in her time. She's had to reject the odd scallions. Very good word. And she's currently just with a cloth cleaning a glass. And to be honest, it looks like she's not really cleaning so much as just moving dirt further around the glass. Do you walk up to her and talk to her?
What time of day is it?
It's evening. The sun's just going down now. It's getting pretty dark outside.
So we need a room.
Okay.
Jen, that's a question, right? Like, we need somewhere to stay. We have not yet found somewhere to stay. We need a room. That's why we're here, presumably.
Well, I am.
I don't think you guys want me
pretty
speaking
big
for the party.
I am a pretty big fan of sleep, so yes, I would like a room.
Okay, so what do you say to her?
Well, I tap Aramil on the back and say, "There you go, get to talking."
You deflect me, huh? Okay. Well, yeah, I'll go up to her and use some of my charm to just introduce myself. You know, I'm Aramil Silverkin. We recently helped out someone that you may know, and we were wondering if you had any rooms for sale for the,
Okay,
for the
so
evening.
she turns around, looks at you, continuing to sort of, clean this glass. He goes, "Aye, and who would that be?"
I don't remember his name. Can I do like a memory check or something? Because I don't know. That guy. Your
You could
niece,
do a memory
your
check,
nephew.
but you never actually asked who the guy was you helped out.
That's true.
Yeah,
I did try to prevent Avak from stealing from him, though. So that's got to be worth something.
but no one ever knew you tried to prevent stealing from him.
Nor do you know that I had any intention of it. Thank you.
Oh, I do know you. I know you well. Okay, well, let's just drop that line of questioning then. I'll just try to persuade her. I'll just see, like, hey, we'd like to stay here for the night. I'm an entertainer. I can entertain these 20 or so hobbits you have in the room if you'd like, and I'd like to do that. And in order, if you would give us a room, then I will do some performing tonight to cover the costs.
She narrows her eyes at you, looking at you a little bit slyly. Make a persuade roll.
Okay, so this is the first time we had this today. D20, and my persuade is. I apologize for not knowing. I don't have all the macros ready. Persuasion is +5.
Okay, so what do you get with that? 14?
Yeah.
Okay, so she looks at you a little bit dubiously, especially considering you were like, "We helped this person. Never mind." And she looks at you, and then after what feels like quite a long pause, she goes, "Well, we'll see what your actual skill is like with that loot. If you perform well enough, then you can have a room. After you perform."
Okay.
While all this is going
I'm
on, I've found myself a table and I'm just getting comfortable, listening with
Sure.
a smirk.
You manage to find a table in the corner that no one is using. Mainly because when you sit down, you notice that one of the slats in it is just sort of slightly throws you to the side.
Great.
She seemed like she's honest. Is she's gonna have me perform and then rip us off? Like, can I tell that about her?
You can make an insight roll, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I got these 5s. I want to use my +5s. All right, there we go. New one. 18.
She seems
I know.
honest but dubious.
Okay, so she's an honest innkeep. Gotcha. Is she fat?
No, she is tough and well built.
Okay, because this is an honest question. I've heard through books and things that you should never trust a skinny innkeeper. So.
She is tough and well built. She's not skinny, but she's not fat.
Oh, okay.
She's
Good enough
a
for me.
half, right?
She's fat for a halfling, maybe, or hobbit.
Have you spent much time with halflings?
Can we actually call them hobbits? Is that not copyright infringement?
I think we could probably say the name, just D&D can't call them that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, yeah, let's go. I'll bust out my loot. I'm not going to play it here. Don't expect that, but I'll play it for the, I'll roll the dice.
Okay. Sure.
I'm not singing. Let me sing.
Well, if you want to perform it, go ahead. What do you perform?
Oh, I don't know. Just I look around the room. I see mostly halflings, and so something that
All the halflings sort of see you stepping up and producing a loot.
Mhm.
Goes a little bit quiet, and everyone looks up at you. Expectantly.
and I'll play something that I intuitively know is the right type of song for this area that we're in. I don't know.
Okay, roll an insight check.
This is unnerving. Insights.
Another one you've got +5 on, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got +5 on almost everything, apparently. I just want to roll my dice, okay? 24.
Wow.
I know exactly
Okay, you look around, you see the hobbits, you see they're mostly sort of hardworking folk, you know they're hobbits, so they're not particularly attached to any sort of liege lord as such. I mean, they do their fair dues to their mayor, but overall, they're not particularly a fan of kings. And you go, right, so obviously I don't want to have anything, too grandiose, and effectively you just go with some sort of basic tavern song about how good it is to, do your work, and then at the end of the day manage to go down the pub. And so you pick something pretty baseline like that, and they all seem pretty
beat?
happy. You can give them a beat if you want.
I take my great axe, my battle axe in my left hand,
At which point the
and my
inn goes
shield
even
in my
quieter.
right hand, and I start thumping, laying down a nice.
At which
beat
point
rate.
some of the hobbits start banging their steins on the table at the same time. Okay, can you roll a
beat?
performance roll?
What's that?
Performance.
Me?
Okay.
Me
I
or
think
him?
that is,
Another +5. Yeah.
yeah.
I think
I've got +5s all around.
they can't hear you over
Don't-
your
don't
shield
flop.
banging.
Don't flop. Hey, 23.
Well, it's only wood and leather. It's not like it's metal on metal or anything.
I would say actually that you'd be allowed to assist in that, but I don't think you need to since that's an 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you perform, and you just go into this rousing sort of chorus, and you tell this long story about this guy. It's a musical story. There's interludes, it's really good, and all the hobbits just sort of rousing cheers, and then several run up to you at the end and start going, "Oh, that was brilliant. Can you give us another one? Oh, go on, come on."
I'm gonna look my way over toward the innkeep and kind of give her a suggestive look, like, "Hey, come on."
She nods.
And I'm gonna wait, and I want to make sure that the nod is the right nod. That yeah, we've got the rooms.
At this point,
She nods. She looks to like one of the innkeepers next to her, who looks a bit younger, a guy, maybe sort of middle-aged, maybe a bit younger, and she gestures upstairs, and he pops upstairs and grabs some bags of what presume to be some sort of bedding from under the stairs.
At this point,
Okay.
I flag down the innkeeper and say, "Well, since he's doing such a good job, how about some victuals and some beer for us, the rest of his party?"
She looks at you, looks over at Aramil, and says, "Fine. What table are you at?"
The one with the wobbly slat.
Yeah, I can see you through the. It's fine. It was a joke. You notice you are about 2 foot, 2.5 feet taller than anyone else in here. You're probably fine.
Okay, that's a good point.
You are also
actually.
red.
You have orange
Wow.
eyes with no irises. You're
never-
terrifying.
What? I mean, I can't see my own eyes. They could be blue
Obviously.
for all I know.
She gestures to the kegs behind her and says, "What do you and your friends want?"
Well, at this point, I look to my two companions, one banging her great axe on her shield, and the gnome suspiciously quiet up to this point, and kind of, what do you want?
Aramil is unfortunately still kind of mobbed by a lot of halflings over the other
It's
side of the
okay, he
room.
doesn't need to eat or drink.
Yeah, he doesn't need a drink.
I'm being taken advantage of.
For the sake of balance, we're going to drink for him. So
That makes
yeah.
perfect sense.
Yes, balance. Yeah, excellent. That's appropriate. I approve.
It'll be a beer for me, I think.
You sure?
What
it's
kind
outside?
do you want? We've got Bellbuck, and she points up to this cask with sort of this green, sort of pale green trim on it. It's a local one. It's sort of a slightly minty flavor for a stout. We've got Ironmaster's Brew, which is that's from the dwarves up at Keirhold. And we've got a few more local varieties.
I'll go for the Iron Brew, or whatever it was, the dwarf stuff.
Ironmaster's Brew
Iron Master's Brew, thank you.
takes a large stein, puts it under it, pulls a pint, hands it to you, and it is pitch black. It is
Fantastic.
pitch black as she hands it to you, with a
Perfect.
few bits of foam on top.
Sure, why not? I'll have one of those too.
Haha, fantastic. I
And
approve
you
of
won?
this.
All around
Well-
then.
As I see her handling all of this beer and everything and making, after the look, I'll keep on entertaining. That's my job. That's what I'm good at. It's my background.
Okay. So she hands Wolfslayer the 2 final pints.
Okay. Well, at this point, I just head back to the table and I settle down for an evening of entertainment and good drink.
On the way back, you almost hit your head on a beam as you're busy with your beer. You manage to dodge it, but you are aware that it's a little bit low down in here.
Probably
it's not
scrape it with my
crazy
horns.
low. It's the Hobbit Inn. Yeah, like your horns, so you can duck under just a little bit. Like it's a Hobbit Inn. It's designed to have bigger folk come past.
Okay.
But it's still pushing it at, if you're getting, a lot of you are sort of 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", at that point, you're beginning to scratch the ceiling. You're okay, but if a beam comes along, you will brain yourself.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You sit down the other end, and Aramil, do you just
Or take down the
continue on?
roof.
Well, this is
Take
my
down the
natural. I just feel right at home. I already got 20-some people around me who seem to be entertained by what I'm doing, so I'll just entertain throughout the night. It's fine.
Okay.
Brings me peace. I never get tired. I only need to meditate for 4 hours a night. I'm fine.
In which case, you get 4 silver coins thrown at you in various denominations. A lot of them are coppers. But someone just sort of vaguely pushes them into a pile in front of you. Hobbits are fairly honest folk. They're not going to filch off your coins.
4 silver.
Yeah, 4 silver for you. It's a pretty good
Yay.
performance. They're all very happy.
Do I know any
Some
songs
ask
about
next time you're popping through.
badgers that I know? I mean,
Oh, there's
Fingers
a
up.
story about the large badger who tried to join in with society, and he put on armor and joined up with the King's Guard, and no one could actually recognize him. It was all a kind of funny story, and you start telling that one. And as you're midway through, and the rest of you get your meals put down in front of you. There's a plate left for Aramil somewhere. And it's a Yorkshire pudding filled with a bit of vegetables and some meat, a lot of gravy. You hear a scream from outside.
I don't even react. I just carry on eating, drinking
Okay.
every now and then. I'm pretty used to screams in the street, given where I come from.
I just look over at Wolfslayer and just suggest, should we check this out?
Yeah, probably. There might be something to hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll finish whatever is left of my beer.
Okay, so you down the dregs of yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to leave that there.
yeah.
Be a
Inebriated now.
Fantastic.
Not with my constitution. And out the door.
Okay. Anyone else going with her?
Well, am I mobbed by halflings still, or am I able to actually call attention to the
slightly
noise?
settled down. You've managed to just pop over and pick a little bit of food off your plate in between sessions of rousing ballads and so on. So, you're not quite as mobbed now after they've got used to you.
Yeah, well, I would want to check it out.
Okay, so you tag along with Wolfslayer?
Yeah. Put the food on the side. It's fine. We can eat later. Maybe.
At this point, I just sigh with a bit of exasperation as I eye the two leaving and glance over at Scarlet and just kind of, well, we best follow along before they get in trouble. Grudgingly get up and slowly follow after them, giving a nod to the innkeeper and thanking her for the food.
Okay.
I just sadly look at my beer, deciding, should I finish this off? Should I go? And then I
Yeah,
eventually...
just bring it with you.
Yeah, I bring it with me.
So, the innkeeper sort of sees you walk past with the beer, gives you a little bit of an eye, but doesn't want to say anything. It appears that most people didn't really hear the scream. They've been there a while, they've had a few drinks, they're not used to this kind of thing. You kind of, having been travelers, are kind of keyed into listening for people screaming. It tends to be a bad sign. So you get outside, but you do notice that there are 2 hobbits running down the path in front of you outside of town, and it seems that the scream came from back up the road that you came to town down.
How far away are the hobbits?
They're probably only 20 feet away. They're not particularly far away.
Okay. Well, I'm a little bit behind Wolfslayer and Aramil, so...
And to be clear, we are the only non-halflings here.
You saw in the inn there were 2 elves in the corner, keeping to themselves.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it's late and it's night, but can we, as I exit the building, can I tell which direction the scream came from? Is it evident from looking at these people who are running?
Sure.
Like,
Make a perception
was
test.
it? I like rolling. You guys haven't rolled at all yet. I've rolled like 10 times. I like
Hey, you've
rolling the
got
dice.
awesome dice.
Yeah.
Your dice are probably better.
Eventually,
You're siphoning all the
eventually
luck
they're
away. Ours would be
they're gonna
rubbish at this
flop.
point.
what roll am I rolling?
Perception.
Perception. It's D20 plus wisdom. If you've got proficiency, you also get proficiency modifier.
15.
That's still pretty damn good. You managed to hear that vaguely came from the direction that you came into town. You're estimating probably about 200 foot up the path. So it was a fair distance away, but, it's a clear night outside. Scream travels quite, a fair distance.
Okay. Well, despite the rain and the fact that I have dark vision, I'm going to go head in that direction. I can see it well.
Are the
check it
hobbits
out.
making any sort of clamor at all? Do they seem in distress? Because I've got dark vision of 60 feet, so I should.
They're talking and sort of pausing on the road, looking very intently around them. And you notice that both of them have got crossbows, looking in the direction of up the road from where the
Do
scream
they
came
seem
from.
like hunters or more guardsmen?
You'd probably say they're sort of guardsmen, although they don't look like, proper guardsmen that you've
Yeah.
seen in other towns, like fully professional, etc. Although you haven't seen much of hobbit guardsmen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm definitely curious, so I'll start following after Aramil. Though I'm not moving with any great intent or speed.
I'm just sort of casually walking behind with my beer still.
Just
I'll get
okay.
there.
She's only a
right,
gnome,
so
she has
you-
to go slowly, otherwise she'll get completely shozzled.
So as you guys start walking towards them, they notice you, and they turn around, and one of them obviously defers to the other one naturally. You can see this just by the way that they basically take a step back as the other one walks towards you. And the other one is actually a slightly older halfling. He's sort of, got a bit of a, sideburns going on. Hobbits can't really get beards, but he's got fairly long sideburns. His couple of grey hairs coming through, and he's got very sunken eyes, like he's very tired.
Okay.
And he looks up at you, except for the gnome, of course, who just eyes straight ahead. He's like, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah, that's why we're here. Where did it come from?
I don't know, somewhere up the road. He eyes you up and down, and obviously he sees the very large axe held by the half-elf. And he says,
Goliath. Jeez.
yeah, totally. And he says, well, if you want to tag along, and he just sort of shrugs.
Wow, such professional guardsmen. Ah, you, vagrant person. Follow along, you can help.
He doesn't seem to be a guardsman of any kind, as you can see, no sort of insignia
Okay.
or formal armor.
Yeah.
Alright,
Can what is the modern day equivalent of a sense motive on him?
It would be insight.
Can I do an insight? Oh no, I'm bad at that.
I was just looking over at
I'm gonna try it anyway.
Go for it.
This guy, I'm pretty good at that. I could do that.
Like-
Am I there? Am I still with you guys, or am I already walking down the road? I can't remember.
You're with them, basically. You all sort of left
Yeah.
roughly at the same
I
time.
assumed we were all
I'm the sensate here. I can sense everything.
Okay.
I'm
great.
gonna
Well,
roll
you
it.
can roll it too.
Oh yeah. What shouldn't we all?
That is a 12.
That's a 12.
-1.
He looks like he is just slightly surprised at you guys, and he's a little bit worried, but he's actually itching to get back up the road.
Okay.
I think he's one of the bad guys. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, for the sake of it,
Okay.
and 10 is no modifier, is that right? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, 10's 0.
0, so it's just 1d20.
Yeah.
My insight was rather rubbish.
He looks like a halfling. He looks slightly old. He's maybe tired.
Good job,
Yep.
good job.
The Perfect.
You also think that beer good.
But I approve of this observation.
Yeah.
Aramil, were you going to roll, or we go with that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm rolling. I love rolling. I got
Okay.
an 11. 11. Ugh.
11. You think that he is a hobbit who's, a little bit wary of you, but he's just a little bit cautious, and he's itching to get up the road.
Our sensei rolled worse than our imaginary Goliath.
All right.
Fantastic.
So we heard a scream from this general direction or further on?
A little bit further on.
Okay. Can I do like a perception to appraise the situation further? Like,
Sure. You can perceive around you.
I mean, there's nobody else here. That sort of a thing.
Sure.
Like, I mean, I've got dark vision, so I should be able
60
to
feet,
see
yeah.
a decent distance. I feel like something's not right here. So what am I doing?
Roll perception.
Perception.
So that's
Damn
off wisdom, and if you've got a proficiency in perception. Yeah, you didn't have much wisdom.
No, I do not. I'm
Oh,
just
that's
not
okay.
patient, okay? Just not a patient person. That's a 10.
There's grass off to the side of the road. You
I have a
step to the north, you
passive
can see some
perception higher than
trees.
that.
You look around and you can see, there's trees up to the side of the road.
Let's see, what am I good
pretty
at?
far
I'm gonna
away.
do one of those things.
Well,
can't
everyone
spot
else
anyone particularly nearby.
seems to be trying to assess the situation. I kind of unsling my bow. I haven't knocked an arrow or anything, but my quiver's
Okay.
at my hip, and I just start walking. I'm tired of talking. I've got enough of a beer in me
apparently-
that I'm going to be reckless.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently the stream just died and then came back up. Sorry, guys. Right. So you just walk up the road.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Sure. He looks around at you, thinking, okay, and just sort of hurries up to catch up with you because halflings can only walk slightly less than you can walk.
Okay.
So
I'm not making any great effort to rush.
okay,
ahead
so
of
he can
anyone.
keep up with you. He does a fast walk. You're just sort of slowly trudging. And he walks up and catches up with you quite easily. And he has his crossbow at the ready, sort of pointed vaguely in the direction of up the road.
Okay.
And you see a subordinate sort of just tagging along behind him.
Are the rest of you just going to stand there, wondering?
I just assume that unless we say otherwise, we're going with you.
Yeah.
We're all,
Cool.
like looking for the source of the scream.
That's cool then.
Okay.
I'm
You get a little
generally
bit further up the road. Yeah.
I'm just generally untrusting of all people, so I'm just pay close attention to what's going on with those two. And AVAC. I mean, Melfast.
Well done.
I'm watching
There we
you.
go.
I'm watching you.
So you walk a little bit further up. There's a house off to the right of you that you pass, and eventually you get a little bit further up the road, and you spot in the road two people laying down, a little bit separated by maybe 20 feet.
Are they halflings?
And have you got dark vision?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone but the gnome, I think, can spot this. The gnome, you don't have dark vision, do you, Scarlet?
I think I do. Let me check.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Dark vision.
Okay, you can all spot this. Halflings just seem unfazed. They continue to walk forwards.
Okay. Are they halflings lying down in the road, or are they not?
They look like either they're human children or elf children, or they are halflings. They're sort of that sort of size, shapes on the ground.
At this point,
About yourself,
I
distance.
stop sharply. At the sight that the halflings beside me are carrying on walking, I just hold out a hand as if to stall them.
Wait, so there are either halflings or children lying in the middle of the road.
At the night.
We've
in
heard
the rain.
screams, and we don't see anything else yet, right?
You can make a perception test if you want.
No, I'm going to run forward.
Okay.
Okay, you run forwards. So
I told you, I'm just not very
Melfus-
patient.
Melfus holds out his hand, and the halflings stop and go, "What is it?" And then this half-elf barbarian with a great axe just runs past them at full pelt.
Exasperated sigh.
You get to the bodies before anyone can really act at this rate, because your run speed is just one turn, effectively, for that distance. So sure, make a perception test when you get there.
Looking for my actual dice. I hate virtual dice. I would like to rage at my virtual dice.
But macros,
Perception.
personal, like real dice can't do macros.
Oh, for
Fine,
Christ's
though.
sake.
Wow.
Wait,
As much as you hate real dice, as much as you hate
Hang
virtual
on.
dice, I love them.
So if I have proficiency, what does that give me?
+2.
+2. That's it, right?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. Then that's a 7.
Okay. So with 7,
Yeah.
2 halflings. In a fairly bad state. They both appear dead. They're wearing cloaks. One of them has a short sword drawn. One of their legs is basically only hanging on by sinew. Somewhere around the knee joint, it's been just pulled apart, and you see strands of flesh hanging from it, and vague bits just basically holding the knee on by a thread. They look both pretty mauled.
Would
Great.
Wolfslayer react
So-
in any sort of way to that? Would she react in a way that the rest of us, being a little bit behind her, could kind of read her reaction?
Well, I'm immediately going to grip my axe and start looking around for whatever might have done this. So
So you'd look a little bit, well, not worried,
ready
but
for battle.
agitated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
okay.
that that's unusual for me, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we probably have been around you enough to know that you really like to hit things. So if you look like you're getting ready to hit something,
Me
it's probably
likes to hit things.
probably quite likely that there's something around that should be hit. So at this point, I just kind of murmur to the halflings who I'm aware aren't able to see that something's up, there's trouble ahead. And at this point, I will knock an arrow and start approaching.
Okay. The halflings sort of vaguely keep behind you, since apparently you know what you're doing. But crossbows
fools.
ready. Okay.
Well,
You get up
as
to the
we,
yeah.
yeah, as I get closer, I would assume I can see them as we come closer, and being that I want people to live, and it looks like they're dead. I want to just make maybe a more accurate assessment. Are they actually dead, or are they just near death? Because if
Okay.
they're dead,
So that'd be a medicine test, but you can make that in a second when we actually get there.
okay.
So you walk up, and once you're actually within vision range for the halflings, they have, the little guy who looked like he was a subordinate, visibly sort of goes pale, and you can see that he sort of makes a motion to sort of cover his mouth like he's almost going to throw up. And the older guy just sort of slightly goes pale, sort of gives this almost visible bodily sigh, and shakes his head and walks over to them. You can make a medicine test now to just check that they are dead.
Sounds like this guy has been dealing with attacks of some sort in the past.
Oh, he's just
my
lived a
medicine-
long time.
Nice. That's really bad.
One of
bad.
them might still be alive.
I wasted all my good rolls already.
Yeah.
So what is that with your modifiers?
My medicine test is +3. It's with wisdom.
Okay, so you get a 5. So you walk over, you check the guy who's got the leg partially hanging off, and you're like, he's definitely dead. You walk over to the other one, and you can see that there's blood pouring out several places, and you sort of go to check a pulse, and you think you've got a pulse, and you lean down, and then you realize that actually that's the wrong arm. That's your pulse.
I feel smart.
I'm watching this. I'm not
I feel
laughing.
very smart.
I am on the inside, though.
Well, at this point, I assume I have finished my beer, so I've just chucked whatever it was in away, and I'm just sort of looking for.
You
Will
throw
Slayer.
this metal pint mug away over the side of a sort of rock wall nearby.
Look at her aghast.
I
That was
just look
good
at.
beer.
It was delicious, and I look at Will Slayer and I just pull out my 2 short swords. Betcha I can find who did this first.
Oh, a challenge. And a cat. Out of nowhere. Rogue
It
cat.
was obviously the cat.
Ah.
What, barbarians don't get animal familiars?
Hey, look, I'm wearing a cat sweater, so.
Okay.
Elysium looking around for his.
So, do we have anyone with any sort of tracking that can find these guys?
Well,
Tracking. What would that be?
at the point that we've all more or less now reached the corpses,
Yeah.
I'm going to kneel down for just a closer inspection. I'm not particularly checking for their life, but I'm just having a look at if there's anything else to note about them. Not looking for like items or anything, but literally why they're dead and one of them's leg is half off.
You can make a... If you want to just check the bodies over and stuff, you can do a perception test. If you want to look at the wounds themselves, that'd be, I think it'd be a survival test or a medicine test. Up to you.
No, they're more or less all the same for me. I'll go with survival. I just want to. I'm paying attention to the wounds at this point. So again, that's just a D20 for me because I only have 10 wisdom. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, damn. Okay. They're wounds.
There are wounds. There is blood. They probably died from those wounds.
Fantastic! I'm a genius.
I look it over.
They
I
look
look
like
over at
they were
Malthus and
tacked
say,
one after the other.
"I concur. You concur? I concur."
I concur.
Your
They look
expertise-
sick.
Most of your life, your expertise in sort of wounds and stuff has been about straight up knife fights,
Yes.
brawling in back alleys, etc. You know, the odd arrow here and there.
Yeah.
You're not sure. There are no arrows sticking out of it, and there's obviously not a bloody dagger lying nearby. And
Okay.
it definitely wasn't a fist that
So I'm
destroyed that knee.
relatively certain that this is not knife or arrow related, or is it at this point? I'm like,
You probably it's not, but you're not certain.
okay, that's good enough. For
There's
me.
a lot of blood. It's covering a lot of things. It's hard to make out.
Well, intuitively, it just seems to me like an animal of some sort. Can I do like an animal handling type thing, or is that completely unrelated to this?
No, that would be a survival test still, to actually look at the wounds and see if it was an animal.
Well, can I do that too? I've already checked
Sure.
them with medicine.
Yeah.
You were checking for a pulse then, though. This is completely different.
Wait a
Is there
minute.
anyone else who's any good with
You
animals?
said it was raining, which means whatever did this
That's better.
left tracks.
That's better.
Easy to find tracks.
Okay. What do you get with the 12?
Well, I have I made a macro, so I get a pop up asking me what my plus is. So the number you see is always the right number.
Oh, I don't.
So
I
it's
see
already
that
got
'cause I've
the-
got other things up. I just see
Oh,
a 12
yes.
on my screen.
12 plus 3 is 15.
Okay, so 15. You look. There are bite marks. They're definitely bite marks. They look like something about like a large dog or cat size. We're talking not domesticated, but a little bit bigger. Some sort of bite about that size.
Like a bobcat or something? Like a cat.
Yeah, something like that. We're talking something pretty large, but not bigger than a pony or something smaller than that, but much bigger than your average house cat or house dog.
Big for like a halfling, though.
Yeah, for a halfling, it's pretty large.
Yeah.
The bite marks, an entire bite encompasses most of one of their shoulders. The entire knee just seems to have been pretty effortlessly ripped off.
As I don't want to assume this sort of thing, is Aramil communicating his suspicions to the rest of the group? That is aimed at the Rumba.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't have alerted the group to anything. I just don't trust people. So I want to double check everything. It's not that I don't trust you guys. You guys are great, but I'm not gonna freak everyone out for no reason. But
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm looking for tracks moving away from the bodies in a direction that isn't the one that we came from.
That's also a survival test.
One of us has got to be good at survival. Come on.
I got plus 3. What is this roll? Oh
A
god.
natural one.
So the half-elf barbarian walks to the side of the path and spots these fresh tracks vaguely in the mud and goes chasing after them. Just like, they're right there. We should go chasing after them. And then realizes they're her own tracks. She's been going around in circles.
Nice.
She literally goes round this tree nearby, chasing herself, and then realizes they're her own tracks after she goes round once.
I just
This
stand
sort of
up
old
and
dead tree by the side of the road.
sigh. I'm surrounded by idiots.
I'm I'm just looking at Roleslayer, shaking my head and thinking, okay, I can do this better, so I start looking for tracks myself.
Okay, so you're looking for tracks, not other bodies.
Just looking for tracks.
Okay, in which case, I believe you would have... No, you don't have advantage. You just have normal for this. I believe. No, you do get advantage. I'll have to check your abilities as a ranger, but I think you get advantage.
Okay.
So feel free to make the roll with advantage. I will just double check it for future.
So what is it I'm rolling for?
You're doing a survival check for tracks.
Survival. Okay.
Advantage is roll to keep highest. Is that right?
Yes. So it's just K, not keep highest, really, in the syntax. But yeah, keep
K.
highest.
Okay, so how do I do that?
2d20k.
2d20.
K1.
K1
Oh yeah.
plus your
whatever
modifier.
yeah.
Plus my modifier, which is that.
17. Wow.
So I got a total of 21.
Very nice.
Okay. With that, yeah, you do get advantage on it. You look down and you look at the bite marks and you go, well, this is definitely some sort of canine. It wasn't a cat. Definitely bigger than your local variety. And you've maybe had experience of them before. And you look at them and you go, right, this is definitely a very large dog. And then you sort of sniff the wound, and it's already to an extent infected. And this person's only been dead about 15 minutes. And so you know that you're looking for a dog that's very large, has an infectious bite, but also the way the bites are actually on the bodies themselves, it looks like they've been bitten from two different angles at once.
Right.
And with 21, you are aware that there is this thing called a death dog, which has two heads, is large, has a horribly infectious bite.
Right, okay.
I'm busy chasing a tree. It's a vicious-looking tree, okay? It is a scary tree.
You threaten it with your axe. It does not look at all worried.
You sure? It's a tree. She's got an axe.
And the tracks nearby look
If I
the
was
same
a tree,
to
I'd
confirm
be
your
bloody
suspicions.
terrified if someone came up to me with a giant axe.
Well, I figure I would tell the rest of the group what I, figured out. And
Okay, would
just
you like to
start-
tell us?
Okay, so it was some, what was it again? Devil dog or something like that?
Death
Death dog.
Death dog. That seems to have attacked these people. It worked out because there's an infection in the bite, and we should probably really look for it.
At this point, I immediately turn to the halflings and say, have you got any issue with large dogs around here? Is this something you've had to deal with, or have there been any other deaths recently like this?
And he looks up at you and he goes, "No, we're not even the guards. We're just the militia. We never have to do anything about this back here. It's a quiet village in the middle of nowhere." And he goes to one of the corpses and begins to turn it over, smells it and sees it and sort of blanches a little bit, and stands up and shakes his head and goes, "These were the sheriff's men as well. They were due here. They were a day late. We're wondering what happened to them."
Where did they come from? Which direction? If they were due here, they were coming from somewhere.
The way it works around here, with our villages being so small, is the sheriff has jurisdiction over an area, and he goes from village to village. And he was coming from a village up there, Toolwater, about a day's drive away by carriage. He should have been here yesterday. But, and he looks at the other corpse, turns her over and goes, "It's just the deputies. I don't know where the sheriff is."
Well, somebody screamed.
It's
These
been a-
guys have been dead longer than... Right? Isn't that what you
Yeah.
said? These guys have been dead longer than
15
since we
minutes
heard the
about.
scream.
Yeah.
Well, no, they were dead a maximum 15 minutes, and this includes you looking for tracks and so on, so the
Okay.
vaguely does match up.
Okay, so it could have been them. All right.
Well, we're
you
wasting
say-
time just stood here. This I say to everyone else.